Then at that eye is dragon energy as well, which speaks of shadow work, seeing oneself and others clearly, high discernment, almost a magical level of intuition and clarity. So it's interesting with this crocodile when we're talking about the stillness above, right? And then like the lily being on top of the water. It's really lotus, right? Being on top of the water. It's fascinating because the crocodile here, there's an aspect of you only see the crocodile for the most part, right? I grew up around a lot of crocodiles. So you only really see them when they are basically on you. They're basically when they are ready to be seen. So I feel like there's what's coming through with this is there's a certain level of discernment that you guys are showing this month around what to share, what to hold in, how to be there for other people having a deeply emotional experience or experiencing a lot of change in their circumstances from a place of I can be there for you, but on the inside, and like hold space for what you're going through, but on the inside, I'm feeling really calm and collected because I can feel that there is a lot of good, exciting change coming that is going to balance out a lot of what has been imbalanced previously on a collective scale. So it's like this it's like that sage energy of like that, the Yoda who has a lot of answers but knows that true wisdom is knowing what to share and what not to share because timing is so important. Fascinating. I just saw 555 on the timer, which is the number of change. Really interesting, Sagittarius. And again, I'm going to say it again. I feel like this is holding hands with Aquarius this month. But definitely check out that reading. So we have the King of Swords here, which is really, again, up on like a higher plane, like looking. So it's really interesting here because the King of Swords is very much about observation and knowing when to speak and when not to speak. So that, because remember, the swords were the realm of communication, what we do and don't say, our mind palace here, our discernment. So this is really fascinating. And what's also really great about this, the fact that this is depicted by an eagle, right? Eagles are about a direct line with spirit. They equate to like a wheel of fortune energy, and it's tying back to that, the carnival, the Ferris wheel that I saw earlier. There's going to be a lot moving, a lot happening this month and going forward. And I feel like the Sagittarius collective is just at a high level of objectivity and discernment that just feels incredibly magical, very potent, and really pleasurable. Do you understand like how empowering this feels to be able, as you guys as Sagittarius, right, to be able to observe and see things really clearly, but at the same time hold space for those who aren't in the same place as you, without feeling the need to show them what they're not seeing. It's really just about holding space, right? But again, your internal state is not affected by your external given circumstances, and that is like the Buddha energy is incredibly strong. I love it. Let's see what else is going on. Another like above something, right? This is really interesting here. It's like a high point, a place of like perspective. So Three of Wands is really brilliant. So this is very much about, if we think about, let's just talk about the Two of Wands briefly. The Two of Wands is having courage to embark on a new adventure. It's attention to detail and planning and kind of like taking those steps towards, what you desire. Now, the Three of Wands is interesting because this is very much about further movement around that, but this is also about being in a place to be available for help, for offers, for any unexpected or needed aid to help you reach that next step in your goal. So it's really, really interesting here that we have the two wands here, and then we have this wand here. It really feels like there's this aspect of you that is able to just kind of like wait this time out from a place of like high point observation and know that you can embody within you this sort of accumulative happy anticipation energy, right? What I'm getting from this is it feels like there's something in your energy this month that feels like it's a beacon. Again, back to that Aquarian reading, a beacon for those around you to come to for help, for advice, for aid, right? Because you are going to be embodying a kind of energy that many in the collective don't feel they have access to this month. Ain't that something? Okay. What else is going on, Sagittarius? Really, really interesting. Yeah. So we have the Seven of Pentacles here. Now, I want to point something out. Do you see, I think they're caribou? Or are they reindeer? I'm not sure. Anyway, you see these two, let's call them caribou, fighting it out back here? And then we have the younger one here kind of looking up in the Seven of Pentacles. Traditionally speaking, Seven of Pentacles is about patience, waiting, maybe even some dissatisfaction around the timing of something, but kind of trusting on a positive note. The seeds that you've sown will bear fruit, right? But to focus on these pentacles here while these two are fighting it out in the background, we have this reoccurring theme of being separate from the stimuli around you, of embodying a certain energy that is markedly different from that of the collective. You guys are going to be able to see and feel that a true reckoning in a very positive way, right? A big balance is coming. A bucking of the system is coming, right? You can feel that. You can sense that. You're looking forward to it. You can feel it. And you might even feel at certain times this month a little, whack-a-mole, but not in a bad way, where it's like, whew, there's a lot of people around me having a hard time, but I feel all right. I feel calm. I feel peaceful. Excuse me, I feel excited. It feels like your experience is going to be a bit different from that of the collective, but in a really positive way. There's an interesting aspect to this as well that says that you do have an ability to positively affect others with the energy that you're embodying, but it's not coming from a place of like enforcing your will or going, oh, come on, feel better. Oh, come on, be like me. Come on, let's do this. This is just an embodiment of that energy, and it's an open invitation for anyone who wants to join. But it feels passive, very Buddha, very place of receiver, and honestly enlightened. And it feels really, 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 really good. It feels really, really good. I do feel like you're going to have people reaching out to you for advice, your perspective, who just want to be around you, who just feel better in your presence this month. And that's amazing. It's really nice. King of Swords. King of Swords. Yeah! King of Swords, Knight of Swords. So, Knight of Swords, look at this. This queen, I'm having nightmares, but don't I look fabulous doing it? And so, Knight of Swords, Nine of Swords. Nightmare, sleeplessness, but it's also about dreamtime messages as well. So it's interesting that this is coming up with the King of Swords. And we're talking about this other higher perspective or this direct connection to, the subconscious with the Nine of Swords here. What's interesting, King of Swords has great objectivity, great clarity, great discernment, and the Nine of Swords is our subconscious trying to speak to us, right? But there being on the shadow side of Nine of Swords, it's so much anxiety that the truth can't come through because we're worried about the past or we're focused on the future or stuck in the past, right? But then we have this aspect of the King of Swords that comes in and says, look at the difference in this. She looks stressed out, like she can't get it together and can't find clarity. Any of these swords could fall at any moment. This King of Swords says, hey, there's an opportunity here. You have 9 swords hanging above you. You can actually, carefully, climb up these swords and sit on top and find clarity within the anxiety, within the overstimulation, right? I feel like that's what you guys are doing this month. This could also be a particular message around creating space around bedtime, around dream time, where you have a set intention to derive messages from your subconscious, your sleeping state, right? Either keeping a dream journal near you or putting crystals under your pillow or really setting that intention before bed. It is an actual thing called dream work. You can set intention before bed that says, I set an intention to receive clarity around ABC, XYZ. Tonight in my dreams, and then when you wake up, just write down whatever comes or how you feel. It doesn't actually matter if you remember your dreams or not, your subconscious does, and so ideas may come to you, like later in the day, or even the next day, or next few days, but also it's just about, you can write down how you feel when you wake up, because we can always remember how our dreams made us feel, if not the details, and I feel like there's a lot of helpful insight in that for you, which is really nice. 3 wands. Another call to ground yourself as well this month I'm feeling is really important. Wow. 10 of Swords with the Three of Wands, fascinating. So what's brilliant about this is that we have a lot of like interesting bird energy happening here. So we have the owl here, right, which speaks of seeing just as well in the nighttime as it does during the day, inner and outer clarity, back to that crocodile slash dragon energy, right? So it's really fascinating with this Ten of Swords when we're talking about, not just clarifying the Three of Wands, but when we talk about this traditionally speaking, this is about the full end of a cycle that can lead to despair, loss, sorrow, all of those things. And then we have the owl here saying, but if we can view loss or endings, not from a place of attachment, back to that Buddha energy, not from a place of attachment, but from a place of objective clarity, right? Then we can kind of see the higher purpose as to why that needed to come to an end to make room for something better and new down the road. Back to this Three of Wands, right? Listen, there's going to be a lot of endings that are happening that are going to begin this month, but really take shape a bit more into the year. A lot of endings having to do with, how things work, the major systems, those in power, a lot of the things that we believe and feel and our desire. There's this really strong feeling of desire and an urge around certain things wanting to end so that other things can begin. There's a really strong energy around that. So I feel like with this Ten of Swords and this Three of Wands, I feel like also this is commenting on the fact that you have direct access to this higher point of view, again with that internal, not affected by the external, where you can kind of see the divine order and the rhyme and reason to a lot of things that others are on the wheel with that Ferris wheel and can't necessarily see the way that you do. But I do feel like it has to do with endings and big change. Clarify for the Seven of Pentacles. Let's see what's going on. But of course. So we got the Two of Swords here to clarify the Seven of Pentacles. Now, let's talk about this. We talked about the Seven of Pentacles. This is a call for patience and trust that the seeds that you've sown will bear fruit. It can speak of where your focus goes when you haven't exactly manifested what you've been working towards yet. We have the two fighting it out back here, and then the one down here just going, I'm gonna focus on like that any one of these could sprout an eighth one at any moment, and it's time to get to work, right? Because that's what Eight of Pentacles is, right? So it's interesting that the Two of Swords is clarifying that, because the Two of Swords is very much about a meeting of the heart and the head. But this is about taking the time out. And see the blindfold here? And we're talking about vision and a higher perspective and an internal, external state, right? It's really interesting that we have the Two of Swords, and it's just about, okay, let me just like get out of my own head with that blindfold, right? And then use my third eye to look inside, right? Again, very Buddha energy here, to access what the best step is moving forward, right? You are using this time before things really begin moving again, like really like kind of like, woo, we're off to the races. You are using this time very, very wisely, very, very wisely about really going within and allowing yourself to have an experience that is deeply personal, deeply insightful, and very individual to you, where you're going and what you desire for your own path moving forward. And it feels really good. But it does feel like there are certain endings that are coming along this month. And, while I do feel with this Buddha energy, with this like having a higher perspective energy, I do feel like this is a blueprint. What we're looking at now for the month is a blueprint of the energies as they are, right? Which are changeable. And the opportunity you have, a way that you have available to you to work within this energy for your highest and best good, right? But I do feel that this is something that is not going to happen, like most things, is not going to happen just by magic and without any effort on your part as well. You have an access to this through your diligent effort and intention, right? To remain grounded, to access through internal means, whether that's meditation or, quiet time, still time, time outside of the stimuli of others. You have the ability to take this time and get that higher perspective and be a beacon and not allow your, what's going on around you to affect how you feel. You have the potential and ability to do that, but it is going to take you intending for that to be the case. Does that make sense? It's not like, oh, I just woke up and I feel great, but everyone else is like having a tough time. No, it's about observing that and then setting that intention within yourself, right? To focus on the energy that is available to you and like what you feel, almost like clairvoyantly. You're able to feel what is coming and why the endings are necessary this month, why the change is necessary this month, because you can see, you can feel that something is coming up as a result that is very desired. So it feels like you have the ability to be the observer this month while those around you are being the experiencers. You're the observer, others are the experiencers. And we all have our turn being the experiencer while others around us are observers. But that is the role that you have the potential to play with and for yourself, but also for the people around you this month, okay? I gotta tell you, I'm an air sign myself. I would pretty much always prefer to be the observer. So I would say definitely enjoy, if you choose to work with the energy as it is this month, definitely enjoy that because it's something that is not always the case. Let's get Oracle. Oh my lord. Eagle King, we got Eagle here again. Back to the King of Swords here. So this says the big picture, angelic help. The big picture, angelic help. Eagle here. The Eagle King is a really auspicious oracle to get because it speaks of having a direct line to spirit and to the divine in order to help you gain clarity, wisdom, and inspiration. So this is always really auspicious whenever this comes up, and it's really brilliant. Remember, it's a direct line to spirit, that being able to see the bigger picture, right? Remember, this says big picture when we're talking about, being on top of the Ferris wheel, hovering above it. Buddha, being able to see very, very clearly, to not have the emotions dictate the internal state. This oracle is also about, you can actively ask for help from your guides, spirit angels, the universe, your ancestors, right? Whoever that is for you. Call upon that in order for them to, even if it's during your dream time, right? The Nine of Swords, to give you that perspective, that wisdom, that clarity, right? You have an ability to do that this month through being an observer. Again, this is very, very auspicious, the big picture, angelic help. This makes a lot of sense to me because especially with the angelic help and then, the rising above and the air energy, it's interesting because you guys have this potential to also be the angelic help for others around you. This is also you for other people. I keep feeling that. It's really brilliant. It's really auspicious when this comes up. So you're going to have access to the bigger picture. You're going to have access to, a source of rhyme and reason and a perspective that others around you don't. And they can benefit from your help around that. And you can benefit from, having a balanced emotional state and clear perspective this month, which is brilliant during Mercury in retrograde and Venus in retrograde as well, which is brilliant. I'm getting a special note, especially if you guys have had tricky Mercury in retrogrades before, or, Venus in retrograde, whatever that is for you. I'm hearing that this one can be very different. This can be a powerful cycle for you in a different way.